Hi everyone, welcome to PYF Presha Yoga Fit, and I am Presha. This practice is designed to help you with your thyroid health. If you are dealing with thyroid issues or just looking for overall well-being, this practice is for you. So roll out your mat and let's get started. Let's begin the practice on all fours, coming into a tabletop shape. Let's bring those hands under the shoulders and the knees under the hips. Let's spread into the fingers, keep the toes curled. Spine stays long and the back of the neck stays long with the spine. Slightly drawing the belly button in towards the spine, keeping the core engaged. Then, with an inhale, let's start to arch the back. While we do that, we are going to start to lift the tailbone and the chest is going to go forward through the gateway of the shoulders. With an exhale, we will press the mat away and round the spine, bringing the chin to the chest. Inhale again, arch the back and tailbone lifts up, the belly drops and the chest goes forward. With an exhale, press the mat away, round the spine and bring the chin to the chest. Good. Inhale again, arch the back, lift your tailbone into a cow stretch, and with an exhale, coming into a cat stretch, so we press the mat away. Let's do that one more time. Inhale and exhale. Come back to center. Then extend your legs back. I'm just going to walk my hands slightly forward and extend your legs back, stepping back into a high plank. Let's make sure those hands still remain under the shoulders. We still spread into the fingertips. If this high plank is too much for you right now, you can also modify it by bringing the knees down. But let's make sure that the core stays active. So we keep drawing the belly in, even if we are in this modified plank position. So we are spreading into the shoulder blades in this plank position. Again, pressing into the mat. Think of that cat stretch that we were doing. Drawing the belly button in, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We'll go all the way down onto the chest and onto the belly. Once we reach down here, we will untuck the toes. Now the hands, we will take them off the mat, keep them aligned with the chest, so in the same line, but just kick your hands off the mat. So come onto the floor and bring your fingertips on the floor. Keep a slight bend in the elbows, rolling the shoulders back, chest is going forward. We're going to press into the floor with those fingertips. Inhale, lift up with the chest. Again, shoulders are rolling back and chest is going forward. Squeeze your glutes here. With an exhale, go down. Inhale, coming back into that back bend. Keep a slight bend in the elbows. Maybe we lift up a little bit up, so than before. And exhale with the chest and the belly down. Inhale again, that back bend. Maybe we lift up a little bit more up. And exhale down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Inhale again, up. And exhale, down. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. This time, inhale, lift back in the same back bend. Stay here. And then look back, turning your head and looking at your left heel. Come back to center, look back, turn your head and look to your right heel. Come back to center, take an exhale, bring the chest and the forehead down again. With an inhale, lift up again into that back bend. With an exhale, drop your right shoulder and your right ear down. Inhale, lift back into the back bend. And exhale, drop the left shoulder and the left ear down. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, lift back into the back bend. Exhale, right shoulder, right ear down. Inhale, center. And exhale, left shoulder, left ear down. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, chest down, but also slide your hands back under your shoulders. Keep those elbows slightly hugging in. Now we're going to press into the mat with an inhale. Take a cobra. Your choice, you could take a baby cobra, so going halfway, or taking a full cobra. So inhale, lift up. Shoulders are rolling back, chest is going forward. Squeeze those glutes, hold for 3, 2, and 1. Keep pressing into the mat, come onto your knees. And this time walk your hands back towards your knees. Bring your knees and stack them under your hips. Curl your toes and come into a kneeling position. Now in this kneeling position, we will keep the chest lifted, keep the spine nice and long. Roll the shoulders once, so lift your shoulders up to your ears, take them back and drop them down. A great way to reset your shoulders. And now we are going to take a camel pose. So we will modify it in case we cannot take the full expression of the pose, or we will just do the traditional pose. So let's start with a modification. Actually, let's start with the progress of this pose. So let's place the hands behind on the lower back area. And actually, I'm going to suggest you to close your hands, make a fist, and place your hands, that fist, and that same lower back area. Now, you can actually place this way, so this part of your hands or fist here, or the knuckle part placed on the lower back. Then slowly with those knuckles or with those hands, we are going to slowly guide the pelvis to move forward, to shift forward. Keeping the thighs or the muscles here, quads engaged. We are going to start to push forward here. Once we start to do that, we will keep rolling the shoulders back and the chest is going to lift up, coming into what we can call as a modified camel pose or the progression into that pose. So you can just stay here. This is pretty good enough. So we keep pushing forward slightly, opening the chest, taking that back bend, and just holding here for 5 breaths. However, we can also take the full expression of the pose. So we extend and reach the right arm back. We are going to hold on to the right heel or the right ankle, and we are going to reach the left hand to the left ankle. So going further, keep pushing. Just imagine your hands were still placed here and they were pushing your pelvis forward. Keep lifting your chest up, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We'll counter the pose. So first, we'll place those hands to the same area. Slowly come into a counter pose. So basically, that means the opposite of that pose. So bring the crown of your head down. And then extend your arms back. Hold on to your shins. You can also walk your knees slightly closer towards your face. So the opposite of that back bend. It's usually advisable to do a counter pose if the body does not take certain shapes in the usual living. So a back bend is not usual for us to practice off the mat. So to balance it out, we take a counter pose. Taking another inhale here. Exhale, let it go. Then with placing the hands down, let's take an inhale, lift the head up. And we are going to bring our seat down. Now, staying with your seat down, we're going to step the feet forward. And we will lift up with the lower back. So the lower back lifts up. The back, the upper back and the middle back stays nice and long. Hands can come under your thighs. lift the chest up, chin away from the chest, lean slightly back, and then lift your shins up and come into a boat pose. Now your hands can just stay here for that support, or you can also extend your arms forward. The third way is that we take a full boat pose, so we extend the legs up. Good. And we are holding here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We'll go down all the way onto our back. Now once we are here, let's bend into the knees. I'm going to just scooch myself slightly down on the mat. Let's bend into the knees and make sure the ankles are under the knees. Toes are facing forward. Let's keep those arms to the sides of the body. Then press your heels down, dig your heels down into the mat and inhale, lift and drive your hips up, coming into a bridge pose. When we come into a bridge pose, we want to make sure the knees and the thighs stay in the same position, in this midline. They are not flaring out, so they are not drawing away from each other, or they are not caving in. That means we'll have to keep those glutes, those quads engaged. Also, think of bringing your chin closer to your chest instead of bringing and tucking your chin to your chest. Keep driving the hips up. Keep pushing down into the mat, digging into the mat with your heels. Big breath in and big breath out. One more time, inhale. And this time open the mouth and let it go. Now slowly with an exhale, with an inhale stay there, and with an exhale slowly bring your hips down. Now extend your legs forward and we will take a fish pose. It's also a back bend. Now for this pose, to prepare for this pose, we will keep those arms again to the sides of the body, palms facing down. You can actually place your hands a little bit under your hips. Keep digging down through your elbows and your forearms. Now we're going to point the toes, so extend here with the feet a little bit more, so point your toes forward, then lift with the head, back of your head, and look at your feet. Bring your feet slightly closer towards each other. And then keep lifting your head slightly more up. Once you do this, then you're going to start to take a back bend. So you're going to start to once look forward and then start to lift up with the chest, dig your dig your elbows down into the mat and lift your chest up and come into this back bend fish pose. Inhaling and exhaling for 5 cycles of breath here. If you need to adjust yourself, you can also by maybe making sure that if your elbows are flaring out, just make sure your elbows drawing slightly in. You're pushing into the mat with the elbows, keeping the chest lifted. 3 more breaths to go. Last 2. And last 1. Just as you came into the pose, we will also come out of the pose in the same manner. So keep drawing the elbows in and digging the elbows down into the mat. Lift the head up, back of the head, look back at your feet, and then slowly bring the head back down. Now we will step the feet in again, just as we had made a foundation for bridge pose, which we just did a little while ago. However, we will do a shoulder stand here. So a supported shoulder stand, we will keep those feet where they are under the ankles, under the knees. And now we are going to lift with the legs and we'll place those hands on our hips to give ourselves a little support in the shoulder stand pose. So let's first actually place the hands down and extend and lift your legs up. Once you do this, just bring yourself a little off the mat. So lifting up with the hips by placing your hands down and lifting up with your hips and placing your hands to the lower back area. Now you want to make sure that your legs are reaching up perpendicular to the floor and you're not actually bringing your legs too back, or you're actually taking your legs too forward. So again, your elbows are pushing down into the mat, chin away from the chest. Keep those glutes, thighs engaged. Hold for 3, 2, and 1. Now slowly come gently out of the pose by sliding the hands and slowly bringing your sitting bones or your hips down. Bend into both your knees. Take your arms around your shins. Rock from side to side. Give yourself a nice hug and also give yourself a nice massage, like a back massage when you're rocking from side to side. Beautiful. Now we will be using the wall space for this practice. I'm going to give you a little time, so I'll be setting up my mat here. Please find yourself a little wall space for this. If you don't have that accessible right now, I'm just going to roll onto one side, then we'll just take a Shavasana. So that's an option. So bringing ourselves closer to a wall space, I'm going to set up my mat closer here. And once we're here, then in order to bring legs up the wall, we will first bring the side of the body closer to the wall. So touch the side of the body closer to the wall, get in contact with the wall. And now we will slide the legs up or extend the legs up, just to make sure we do this so that the body stays closer to the wall when the legs are up. So extending the legs up, and my sitting bones or my hips are pretty close to the wall as well. Just keeping your legs extended. Arms can be to the sides. Palms can face up. Or you can also keep your one hand on the chest and one hand on the belly. Close your eyes. As I mentioned before, if this pose was not accessible for you, since there was for some reason no wall space available, then I would invite you to take a Shavasana. And we close our eyes, slowing down the heart rate, slowing down the rhythm of the breath, centering ourselves. And really take this time to observe the body, observe the breath. Notice if there is any tension or anything that you're holding in the body, any muscles that are tensed. The shoulders, the back body, the muscles of your face. Maybe we are clenching the jaw. Maybe we are tensing up with the forehead. Let's just let go of all of that tension. Relax, soften. And if, like me, you've placed your hands on the chest and the belly, and this is the best way to connect deeper to your breath. Notice the fall and rise of your chest, belly, with every inhale and exhale. And we, in any yoga practice, usually conclude with a shavasana or a pose like this where we can be still. As much as movement is important for the body and the mind, stillness is equally important. Stillness cultivates mindfulness. We are not clouded by too many distractions or too many thoughts. Thoughts can come and go, but stillness still helps us to center ourselves. And with the next breath, if you are with me with legs up the wall, we're going to slowly open the eyes first. If your hands are on the chest and the belly, bring your arms to the sides. Then extend your arms above your head, take a big stretch. Release. And gently and slowly bring the legs down off the wall. So you roll onto one side. Pause there for a moment. Then we press into the floor and come into a seated position. As always, like I advise in my rest of the practices, that if you wish to extend your shavasana or the pose that you are being still in, please make sure that you honor that. Maybe the body needs it, so you extend that pose, you stay there for a while. If you're with me, let's conclude the practice, bringing the hands to the heart center, with gratitude for showing up on the mat and finding time for self-care. Thank you everyone for joining me in this practice. I hope you find it helpful. I will see you in the next video soon. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.